Hello, pipe community. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. Today, it's Cobb Tuesday. I got my Cobb Tuesday cob. Got my Cobb Tuesday hat. Today's Cobb Tuesday cob is a Missouri Meerschaum Emerald. That nice little forever stem. Not sure I like that any better than the plastic ones. I like those soft plastic ones. In this, I've got some Penzance from 2016. Now, you may recall when I sampled Penzance before, I said, it's a good Balkan. But I wouldn't chase it. Same opinion still. It's good. If I see it, would I buy it? Sure. Would I take the time to chase it? Nope. But it is not bad. Hey, today I wanted to answer Chad Yardism's question from a week ago. Yeah, I'm a little late. He asked us for 3 book recommendations. Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to pull an armchair piper whose favorite pipe is very often the one he's smoking at the moment. Well, 3 books that I'm going to recommend are the 3 that I'm reading at the moment. Now, one book that is always on my reading list and is always on my recommendation list is going to be the Bible. Whether you are a Christian or not, it is very hard to argue against the notion that the Bible is the single most influential book in human history. You may not like that fact, but I do believe that's a fact. As such, whether you are a Christian or not, probably a good idea for you to know what's in it. Just saying. Now, the other two are books that I'm reading right now, and if I'm not mistaken, a few months ago when somebody asked us what we were reading right now, these are the same 2 books. One I am reading again. The other I have had to take breaks from, and so I have not finished it just yet. Let's look at the first one. The first one is Francis Schaeffer, The God Who Is There. Now, if you're not familiar with Francis Schaeffer, he was an apologist who had a very keen insight into the conflict between modern philosophy and Christian thought. This is another one that I think would be an interesting read for someone who is not a Christian but is into philosophy as well, because it does discuss at great length the problems that modern philosophy has run into and how it has tried to resolve those against a backdrop of classic Christianity. It's been a very interesting read, and I'm having to read it again because there's so much there that I'm picking up things that I missed the first time. It's a very interesting read. For those of you who are Christians and are interested in being able to discuss Christianity against the backdrop of modern philosophical thought, it's an invaluable tool. The other book that I'm reading right now is Erich Metaxas Bonhoeffer. Now, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was he was a brilliant young theologian, German theologian, who at an extremely young age was gifted with insight and discernment. And a decade before it became obvious to the rest of the world, was warning about the direction Hitler was taking Germany. He was one of very few pastors within and theologians within the German church, which is intricately tied to the German government, or it was at the time. Unlike here in America, where we have a separation of church and state, in Germany they had no such concept. And the German Lutheran Church was taken over by Nazis, or by Nazi stooges. As such, there were very few true Christian pastors who were willing to speak out against that takeover, for fear of losing their positions or their lives. Bonhoeffer spoke out and lost both. But he left us, in addition to gaining something far more valuable, he left us something extremely valuable, and that is a legacy of writing back and forth, letters that he wrote, and actual essays, volumes that he wrote as well, that give us a real insight into how he saw this coming. And Metaxas does just a wonderful job of making Bonhoeffer's life and his thought processes just jump out and come to life. So those are the two other books that I'm reading at the time, and they're absolutely fantastic. I've got some more waiting in the wings, a little more history, a little more religion / philosophy / theology. But those are the two that I'm reading right now, and I would recommend both of those to anybody who has even a marginal interest in any of those fields. Look, if you're a historian and you want to see how people overlooked the danger and the rise of Hitler and Nazism during the 1930s, look at Bonhoeffer's life. He was a lone voice, almost crying out in the wilderness, to use a biblical phrase. His life has got to be of interest to people who are not people of faith, to people who just want to see how did this happen? How did this get overlooked? How did people not see what was coming? So a very interesting life there. With that, it's a 91-degree day here in North Carolina, but the humidity is not up, so it is actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. I'm going to continue enjoying this Penzance. Y'all, light something you like. Read a good book. Enjoy the afternoon.